So, good evening, everyone, and we are officially in week 6. And before we begin and take a deep dive, as usual, we will run through the code of honor, which will protect us from getting placed, from diverted, from not to get placed, because this is only the goal, this is only the focus, and this will follow by learning what we are learning today. And for that, everyone is requested to show up live on time, being punctual and highly committed. Why? Because this is the thing which we do, the way we do, the continue to deliver, and that is going to happen once we get placed. So this is actually building our discipline that we are going to showcase once we get placed. The second one is that because we are learning, so remember to become a full stack student, and the student who learns, they do all the assignments, they do self research, and they repeat what they learn. And while these all things are happening, these are going to lead you towards success or failure. If you'll do the assignments, of course the success will be reward for you. And if you are not able to, so only one thing comes to you, that is either the reason why did not you do certain thing, or the result how you have done certain things. So if reason comes in, that leads to failure, and if result itself is a success. So you decide how to and what to attract in your life. And while this is the third code of honor you're going to follow, remember, on this journey you must have a positive mindset, where from where either success or failure will be attracted. That is through learning mindset, positive mindset, having a complaint free mindset, and keeping yourself loaded with the gratitude. Also, increase the receptivity when you are starting your day by listening to All Nightingale, the audio track which is given to you, which also teach that how you can continue to add value once you get placed in corporate of America through Guru schools. And while these all things are happening, you keep yourself prepared by learning new tools or skills or techniques. Just before starting that, remember to declare, and then after that draw, after the learning, and then sum it up using any video, so that you are confident enough to crack any interview. And this declare, learn, draw, summarize is also known as golden quadrant of learning. And because we are taking a deep dive into today's learning of week 6, what we are going to do, we are going to anchor it by self clap, which we also call it as a hi-fi, self hi-fi. So at the count of 3, we are going to clap and repeat the highlighted word available on our screen as a statement, in fact. So are you ready to declare, everyone? Yeah?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So at the count of 3, you are going to clap. 1, 2, 3, and clap and say, I am a quick learner.
I'm a quick learner.
I am a quick learner.
What others can learn and master, I too can do that.
What
What others can learn and master, I too can do that.
Awesome. Once again, we are going to declare by giving a clap. So be ready. Just give me a second. And I'm just going to highlight these statement for you. So again, 1, 2, 3, and clap. Because I am an awesome learner,
Because I'm an awesome learner,
today's learning is going to be super duper easy to me. Today's learning is going to be super duper easy to me. Yes, thank you. And while this is going to be easy for you, remember, once it becomes easy for you, once you get placed, be a giver and keep your ego away. That keeps us spiritually grounded and gives us power to learn a lot and more. And while these all things are happening, have an intent to give away for the society, that we call it as a charity, because what we give let us grow. And that's the reason we ask ourselves and remind ourselves, at least give away 5% or 10% of earning to those causes where we can believe or we believe in, and appreciate what we do and appreciate others that they do for us. And also, even what does not happen to us, we must appreciate. Why? Because what we appreciate appreciates us. So on this note, I am just sharing the slide for today, that is of week 6, day 2, because yesterday we learned about information management system. There we ended it, and today we will be learning a lot of diagrams. I'm not sure how many of us have learned the diagram. Do you, Bridges, do you remember if you have learned any diagram last time, in when you were entering into business analyst, what do you call, business analyst track, when you started?
Yeah, I think I started right around when we started learning the diagrams.
All right, all right. So today we are getting into learning diagram once again. So yeah, this is sort of a repetition for you, everyone us, for every one of us. And what all the diagrams are coming our way, that is activity diagram, mind maps, product roadmap, SWOT analysis, fishbone diagram, process flow diagram. So here what is going to happen exactly, every diagram has a purpose. What is the purpose? So you don't need to write the process as in, process 1 2 3 in a numeric format, but you can just define certain process and you can depict those processes through the design. And that's the reason we believe in bringing design on the paper in the requirement gathering documents most. And these could be few few of the name. And I keep on telling you that if you need to practice some diagram, you try to practice it into the Lucidchart. So lucidchart.com is one of the website where you can prepare a few diagrams for free. There is a purpose behind it, that you can indicate its start node in the shape of circle, end node in the shape of oval. So that defines that a process has started and ended. Action items could be presented in form of a rectangle. Okay, that could be input and output. Decision node should be in terms of a diamond, and control flows should be a connector. Okay, that is a black dot. So this is how you can prepare any diagram. And the base of any diagram is what? Can anyone tell me? Base of any diagram is what?
The problem.
Process.
It's a flow chart. It's a flow chart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you will find in any of the diagram flow charts are available. So for example, even though it is an activity diagram, so let me play it in the presentation mode, so that I think it will be readable to us. So, and I'll share. Okay. So here it is a simple activity diagram, how customer is walking into ATM machine and taking out some cash. So for that, he inserts the ATM card, which gets validated into ATM machine. And then we decide whether it is valid or invalid. In fact, system decide. And if it is invalid, card itself gets ejected and we take the card out, and here it gets closed, the one step. If it is valid, it continues, ask for the PIN, and then PIN gets authorized from the bank. And then there, through this decision diagram, this is the diamond. We decide in the chart whether it is valid or invalid. If it is invalid, we show the if it is invalid, we simply eject the card, take the card, and walk away. But what if it is valid? If it is valid, we enter amount, how much we need to take out. Then ATM checks the balance. If balance is low or not sufficient, it shows the balance, and then we eject the card, and then we take the card out. Or if balance is sufficient, we enter the amount to take the money out, and then we then again once it shows the balance and we walk away. So this is a simple process of activity diagram where all the decision has been uh, presented through lucid chart diagram or activity diagram. It was created on lucidchart.com. Okay, this is for your information. In the similar way, mind map is there. So mind map, every day you are looking at it. Do you remember mind map recently where you looked at it?
Yeah,
Okay, where did you?
code of honor.
Code of honor. Exactly. That was the mind map. So using mind map, you can define any problem and get to the solution. The main idea gets into the center and remaining becomes its branches. And here comes the product roadmap, which is interesting one. So for this, I would like to invite Prernaji, if you can take this up, and then we'll continue with the next.
Yes, thank you so much, Gaurav.
Yeah.
So, yes, as the word suggests, product roadmap, this methodology or this way we facilitate or an organization facilitates how the particular product they have will go ahead in its journey, right? Roadmap basically means whenever we want to go somewhere or visit a new place, we have that Google Maps on our devices. So we use that, select a destination and go ahead. So it is on the similar grounds. It is basically a very high level plan, which will give us an idea, which will describe how the product will go ahead in its journey, how it will grow, what will be its lifespan. So when I say product means, for example, Facebook, if you remember, Facebook it's a product in a way, though it's a website, but it's a product from Mark Zuckerberg. Currently it's been kind of getting renamed as Meta. So you remember 10 years back how Facebook would be? It used to be so plain and how less functionality, the look was so simple. There were no advertisement. You guys remember Facebook 10 years back? I think most of you were using Facebook. Anybody? Yes? Do you remember those days of Facebook when it used to be very simple? Don't tell me nobody uses Facebook. Hello? Abha?
Yes.
Rupa? Anybody? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So initial days of Facebook, how it used to look. It was very plain, like a single page. There were no ads. There were no additional functionalities, no communities, no polls. It was a simple website where you can post pictures and videos and, see your friends' activity. So imagine that was the Facebook 10 years back, but now today we can do almost anything and everything on Facebook. You can have your live streaming, you can have your uh, charity building, and you can have n number of things to be done on Facebook. Starting with your community and raising polls. I mean, the options are kind of endless. Advertise your products, create your page, advertise your work or everything. So that is a very simple and realistic example of how a product roadmap works and looks. Okay, we can also take the example of WhatsApp. Right, when the WhatsApp started, there was so simple functionality of just basic chatting and sharing videos and sharing pictures. But now we have the status. Now it is even integrated into payments, so we can make payments on using WhatsApp. So this is how any product has its journey of development. So that is why it is simply called as product roadmap. So it basically displays, or it basically showcases the vision or the priorities with respect to the product, and how it will achieve that over the period of time, or how it will achieve that in the given time frame. Okay, so maybe you say within 1 year we need our product, we need our website, and anything that can be your website, your mobile application or your web application. A product can be anything and everything, right? So what all functionalities that will have, how it will work. So all that is being kind of planned in product using product roadmap. So the purpose is to communicate how we see the product development over a period of some particular time, and also this all needs to be in line with the interest of stakeholders, in interest of organization seniors, in interest of all the individuals who are connected in the project. So for example, what was the customer's requirement with respect to the product roadmap, what was the company's or organization's vision with that. So when a customer says I need these many functionalities, I need to, like in WhatsApp how they have payments. So in now in WhatsApp we can have, I think, around 4 or 8, I'm not sure, do we have the 8 people video calling? Have you tried? Because I'm normally into 4 people maximum. So like that, tomorrow they might add a 10 people, you can have simultaneously group video call, or some other functionalities like that. You can have status for 1 week, things like that. So all these things are like product roadmap, which are planned for products future. Okay. Also, a product roadmap gives you a overall overview of yes, what all goals the product will achieve in near future. Definitely, what all things they will the product will incorporate, how it will look, and those are the goals with respect to definitely timelines, resources, and features we have developed. I think you're able to understand, right? When we have any new thing on your phone, like for example, people who play games, they might understand it well. Like earlier the game interface used to be so simple and with very less functionality. Now the uh, most of the games are so realistic, and their interface is so advanced. So that is the product roadmap. Earlier that was so simple, now it has reached on a different level. On the similar grounds, we have different softwares, like photo editing softwares or grid softwares. Earlier, if you see 5 years earlier, the functionalities provided were very limited, they're very less. But now we can do, like, there are so many filters, so many shapes and sizes and additions to the picture editing part. So that this is the way any kind of software you use on your phone, on your laptop, that kind of evolves over a period of time, and that all evolving happens as per the roadmap. So there are these 3 basic questions you're supposed to ask, as an organization, as a team member, or as a senior in the team. So what are we doing next with respect to the product? What's the actual plan? And why are we doing this now? Okay. So first of all, what will be our next step? So what are we planning to do next? Like for example, WhatsApp has the payment integrated. So what's next? They might have tie up with some of the maybe shopping, websites or shopping apps. It's just a hypothetical example. Yeah. So anything and everything, right? Then what's the actual plan? The actual plan is the plan means the motive of this action is maybe to increase revenue, earn more profits, or actually to uh, earn or increase your customer base, or it can be anything. But normally it is more with to do with profits and increasing your market, as in increasing your users. So that's one of the main aim. That is why we are in this business. And then why are we doing this now? Now means, are we going along with the trend? Why are we doing this now? Means, is it suitable to the current scenario? So try to have this example of Facebook, WhatsApp, overall any games or any designing apps on your phone. So you will understand. If everyone, we keep getting the new updates for our phone. Right? Do you get periodic updates, system updates for your phone? Yeah. Yes or no?
Yes.
I guess
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Periodic updates. So you have to update your phone, and then maybe it requires a quick restart. So what is that? That is basically development. That is basically a product roadmap. So if you read that, there is a proper description at times mentioned that, okay, this bug is resolved. Now this additional functionality was there, has been added. So it's all mentioned in that. So this is what, with respect to product road mapping, it's quite simple to understand, because the word itself gives away the meaning. And I'm pretty sure with this kind of examples, you should be able to relate with that, right? Anybody has any doubts on this? Brijesh, Rupa, anybody? Ava,
No.
Kamini, Bela, you feel you need some more explanation on this, or are you able to understand? We don't have Kamini today. Okay. Okay. So Gaurav, would you like to add something?
So we will understand more in detail into the diagram how we can means design and depict and showcase that in diagram. So next should be the diagram itself. So let me flip the slide. So here we see from Q1 to Q4 how any roadmap can be presented. So should I explain this, Prerna?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so you see here there is a complete product roadmap has been designed from Q1 to Q4, where it has various items what has been planned to roll out. Okay, from item 1 to item 5. Okay, and you see here this roadmap is talking about Salesforce integration in one of the product, what all these things it does. So that is also mentioned, like organization chart will be automated over here. Then at third level, quick live app will be presented, and Google Hangout chat will be integrated with this. And in Q3 we will also bring advanced admin control for this Salesforce integrated app. And then as two more items will come. Item 4 will be rolled out in Q1, Q2 and 3, and Q4. What all these are? So one is the inclusion of draw.io app import. Another one is KMS, that is key management system, that will be reviewed in Q2 and Q3. So understand using this what is happening. So this is exactly how you as a product owner or a business analyst or scrum master will be aligned with the roadmap of any product or any project. In fact, you are going to present in front of your audience, that is going to be your colleague, your peer, your stakeholder. And in item 5, finally it says that in Q3 and Q5 the tablet annotation and drawing will be rolled out. So this is how, this is just one of the example created in lucidchart.com. Using that, you also can create some project planning. Okay, what all the small pieces you are trying to develop and roll out in the Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4, and you can just represent them in this bar style manner that will be on one of the chart. So do you think you will be able to do, if lucidchart.com will be given to you, or any information will be given to you that this is how we are going to plan? Do you think you will be able to create such kind of representation in lucidchart.com? Everyone, if you have you used earlier lucidchart.com?
No. No.
Okay, if you have
Yeah.
not used it, so I remember that Kamini, Bela, and Varsha, and who else? Anila might have used them. So if you have never used it, try using it and try creating some new chart, new roadmap. You can think of any example by your own self. Okay, and then you can use it in a trial version. Remember lucidchart.com, there you can create any kind of diagram, be it activity diagram, roadmap diagram, workflow diagram, or simple flow chart. Okay, that you can do it. So you can take it as a what your um, uh, assignment. Okay, your home play. Just play with lucidchart.com. Take a note of this name and play with it once you come back next time. So another is SWOT analysis. That is all about strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. You continue to think about it. So this is an evaluation tool for business leaders to assess these all four traits for any organization. In fact, you can apply on yourself as well, and it provides you a clear view of the strength, allowing it to build on them and meet business objective women. So it also highlight weakness, showcase opportunity. So you can see here the benefit of SWOT analysis. So you have to create 4 blocks, and in all those 4 blocks, you need to you can bullet it out what all the strength of that business or project is, weakness of the project is, or businesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay, so or in the lucidchart.com, you can bullet it out like in 4 different blocks or 4 different sections. So is it do you think that it is going to be easy? This is just a simple draw work. Okay, you will open lucidchart.com, click on new, and this graph will be given to you. There you need to just create these 4 blocks. Think of any business. Say for example, you can think of appointment system. Okay, so just you have written any requirement, refer to that, and then draw these outlines. Will you be able to do it? Will you be able to think about it? Do you think you can think about certain work?
Yeah.
Okay, Abha can think. Okay, Brijesh can also think. Who else? Bela can also think. I
Yes.
heard. Yes. What about you, Rupa?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So this is how it is going to be easy. Fishbone diagram. I think Prerna ji would like to take this. Yeah. Okay. I was audible, right? Okay, I'll continue over here. So fishbone diagram will be interesting because it starts with the problem and ends with the
Sorry, Gaurav. I was on mute. I'm so sorry. I thought I
Okay,
was
okay.
talking. Yeah. This is honestly, this is one of my favorite this diagrams to explain and to actually work on. As you see, Gaurav, can you just go to the next slide? I would like them to see the diagram first. Yes, 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 yes. So can anybody read out the blue highlighted blocks for me, please? There's hardly 7 of them. Yeah, the blue one. Everybody just speak about one word. What is mentioned there? Yeah. The first one
Is it
environment. Yeah.
environment?
Uh-huh. Somebody else? Just go one after one. It's barely a word. Yeah.
People.
Right.
Equipment,
Manage.
Okay. Yes. Management. Yes. Next.
materials,
Yes.
Materials. And last.
Process.
Okay. And the rightmost two blue this no in mentioned in oval and that cloud.
problem, and root.
Cause.
Yes. Problems and root, rather root cause. Okay. So everybody just try to look at this diagram for for a few minutes, and then you would definitely able to understand why it is called as a the name of this diagram. Okay, that's fishbone diagram. Okay, so cause, so we have cause and we have the root. So what happened, and the answer is how. So Gaurav, would you please go to the earlier slide? Yes. So fishbone diagram, right? Why I showed you the diagram first is because I wanted all of you to get the idea that why this diagram is called as fishbone diagram, merely because it is kind of derived from the shape of a fish, rather shape of a fish bone, wherein we have all the causes that might be responsible for that particular event, and then we get to the solution part of it. Okay, so the thing is, the fishbone diagram is also called as an cause and effect diagram. Cause and effect means because of these causes, this is the outcome or this is the effect of the particular situation. Okay, so this basically helps us to understand what are the main what I would say contributors of any particular issues or failures, or or any defects we have. Like for example, imagine imagine WhatsApp is down for around 2 hours. WhatsApp, as we know, it's working 24/7. Just imagine WhatsApp is down for 24, not 2 hours, 4 hours per se. It's a heavy impact. Okay, the people use WhatsApp so frequently, everything, and then the WhatsApp team, the Facebook team wants to know what went wrong. So in that situation, all these pointers that we had just read, environment, people, process, all that, those will be taken into consideration and and the team will think upon it. So for example, as the development environment was an issue, okay, no, any people, any particular team forgot to do some of the jobs or some of the, have they done any mistake in the coding? Okay, no. So, is there any process was not followed properly? Like, for example, going for any development or any release. Release means finally having the newly development part delivered to the customer. So before that, it has to go to a lot of testing process. So was that process followed? So all these things basically help you to identify what can be the possible cause or what can be the possible reason why the issue occurred. Okay, and so that is why all those blue blocks are basically giving you the what I say, a starting point to think, or giving you some ideas on which factors you should be thinking upon. So yes, this tool is basically to identify what is the root cause of any particular problem, and it really helps very well in the analysis, because you have certain parameters, certain factors, and you have to think around them. And it yeah, it is mentioned that this looks like just a fish's bone. That is why so at its heads there is a the skeleton. The problem is at his heads, and the causes are kind of into this point. So we saw the right side, it was like root, what is the root or cause of the issue, and the spine or in the bones we have all the factors. So machines means equipments. It can be software, hardware, your laptop, your server, or in case of any particular factory setup, maybe it's a sugar making factory, though all that equipment those are required for that. People means your development people, testers, your managers, anybody who is making decision, those kind of people. Materials, again, is with respect to non-IT, there are different, like for example, if you have to understand for sugar factory, there can be sugar cane is a raw material. For IT, any particular software and coding language, and licenses and resources, this can be material or proper, and environment means did we follow the rules of how to deploy in production environment, how to deploy in testing environment, and also in case of any other setup than IT, maybe a cloth industry, or a textile industry, sorry, a medicinal industry, what our environment is suitable or required for that particular product, was that properly built or properly created? So all these things, Gaurav, can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah, thank you. So, in this way, you did not have only this, so these six are the major cause, and if you see, there are sub causes. So for example, if we have to consider the cause people, so in that people cause, you can always have, okay, people, then we can have a sub cause as a development team. Okay, development team did not fix a particular bug well, that is why the production issue came. Or say you have testing team, the testing team did not test the particular newly developed piece of change or code, and that's why it gave issues in the production. Then you have your senior manager, okay, they did not take a good decision at times, timely decision of saying yes or no to the customer. So imagine in this scenario, you can have your multiple number of causes which you feel are responsible for creating this issue, right? So isn't it interesting, guys? I mean, the look of it itself, it's so I don't know, tempting or so eye-catchy that only after looking at its shape, you get a decent idea of what it is and how it is managed. So yes, that's fishbone diagram for you. So Gaurav would like to add something, or we can take the questions if they have any.
So no, you mentioned it well, that how means we can identify the cause through root by asking certain questions, who all were involved in some disaster. So yeah, so asking those questions through these from problem to the cause, we actually identify the area to fix, and thus we fix it. Okay, so we can
Right.
move to the next one. This is the process flow diagram. So
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
should I?
Should I?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Good. Yeah. So the process flow diagram, as it shows, it basically is what the word says: process flow diagram. So it depicts the flow of the processes involved in your application, involved in your product, involved in your workflow. So uh, before starting to that, we would like to let us understand all these symbols, because they're very very important and easy. And once we get to know them, you're good to go, and you'll understand other diagrams also quite well. So if you see the first symbol, that is like an ovalish rectangular shape. So that is a start or end symbol. For any process diagram, we use these symbols. So to start or stop any process diagram, this symbol is heavily used. Okay. So that's an oval representation for a start or end. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then arrows, I don't think anybody needs any explanation. Arrows, wherever it is pointing, it's basically connecting between two shapes, or showing you how the flow is going, okay, in whichever direction. So that is as per where the head is. Then we have a parallelogram that represents the input and output. Yeah. What happened? Anybody said something, or yeah. Okay, fine. So
Sorry, background
parallel.
noise.
Yes, yes, somebody was not on mute. Happens. So I think everybody is in the Christmas festivities mood, and we're having this session. Somewhere I'm feeling like that, because when you hear it's kind of a lot of lightings and stuff going on in a basically in offices and overall. So yes, I can relate. So yeah, going back to this input output, we have this parallelogram wherein for our application of our product, if there is any input, maybe input can be in the form of people, development testing team. It can be in the form of environment, like development environment, testing environment, production environment, particular software, so like that. Then we come to process. So process is how we are going to do about it, like are we following scrum, are we following agile, how are we going ahead with it. So that kind of similar to that kind of processes are shown with the help of a rectangle. And yes, last but not the least, one of my favorite diamonds. Yeah, the shape of the diamond, it basically indicates that there is a decision involved. So generally, a diamond is mentioned for a yes or no. So when we have a process flow diagram and we have to mention that was this job done properly. So when I say job done properly means there are many jobs actually in database which are called as jobs, which means those are small or big scripts which are to be run by the development team or the support team. So those things are called as jobs. Like how we have our alarm every morning on whichever timing you have set and it runs, same way job is a script that is a scheduled and it runs periodically. You remember you have your WhatsApp backup taken every day, right? If you have noticed, so that is basically a job, because we have to set up at what time we want to have a backup, and then every day one chat backup file is created for WhatsApp that runs. So it takes a backup every day at particular time whenever we decide or as per WhatsApp policy. Okay, so that is a job I wanted to explain you. So yes, a process flow diagram basically is a grammatical, not gram, sorry, diagram, a visual representation of how the flow of the processes work, how the process goes ahead, what is the direction of it, and it is shown with this with the sequences and with the help of different diagrams which we just saw, major important of them. And yes, those are all these shapes are kind of joined together or linked together with the help of arrows, and that helps to understand the flow of the diagram. And also it allows us to understand logically and rationally how the product is going. Like for example, it's a very very simple, but one of my favorite example is whenever we go to any new site, any new website, so how do we go about it? So first we have this login page wherein you have to give your user ID and password. And if you're not a regular user, if you're a new user, then you'll have a click link there for new user. You click on that, and there you'll have to give your few of the details, your first last name, your maybe if it's a shopping website, then your gender, the age, and maybe stuff like that, and your email ID and phone number, and then you'll go. So in this example only, we already saw two processes. Like first, if a person is a regular customer, registered customer, so in case of registered customer, only that login page, and you take the user ID password, you once they feed in, you check with the database if it is right, and you allow them in that shopping website. But if case of a new customer, yes, you check their name and their email ID, if that has been used earlier or not. If there is somebody registered from the same email ID, maybe your brother, your sister, or somebody, your friend used your email ID. Nobody uses, I'm just giving a hypothetical example. So they'll ask you, this email ID is already registered, like that. So this is kind of a flow. Why I gave you this example is to understand how the flow works. It's the simplest and easiest example. And yes, below are the steps to make a business process for diagram. So determine what are the main factors or components of your process, which are the main contributing factors in your process. Those can be people or material or anything, that depends on your project to project. And order the activities means, like order means we have to follow, or we have to keep them in a sequence. Like in the current example, if it is a new user, then you have to go to the sign up page, and you have to give the details, and then you'll be getting verified with an OTP. So all this is a process. First get the details, second validate the details, third give the OTP, fourth, validate the OTP. So all these things, if we broke down, those are actually processes. Okay. Change the correct symbol for, sorry, choose the correct symbol for each activity. That goes without saying. Make the connection between the activities. Yeah, you have to make a connection between all the activities. None of the diagrams are just hanging in that process. You have to connect them with proper arrows. Yes, indicate the beginning and end of the process that we learned at the beginning of the diagram, that oval shape we have to have for showing the start and end of the process. And review your business process diagram. So yes, not only creating is enough, but you have to periodically review that, okay, whatever you have created is fine, it's right, and it is as per your business processes. So yes, anybody has any doubts in this, because though it's quite easy, but in case if you feel you need more clarifications, please go ahead and ask. Yes.
Or else, if you remember, if you have ever created normal flow chart, this is going to be easy, because you know how to symbolize the start or end, how to indicate the decision, and how to add input or output diagram in the process flow diagram. So should we move to the next slide, Prernaji? And
Yes, yes.
I'll continue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So this is one of the example what Prernaji was telling, that so in this example, what you have seen here is all about customer sales representation, how customer walks in to return some item. So there is given credit note or some. So we'll see over here how exactly it follows. So will identify first as start or end. So here you see here the sales approved is the end. Okay. This is one of the end, sales not approved. So either it can be approved or not approved. Then what is the start point? So start point is the sales call. So everything is all about sales over here. So then input is order entry, or customer buys some product, that is the input. Then he is given some credit form, and then again order entry is opened up, then order form is seen, and then from there the approval process starts, but that undergoes some decision to check whether it has got the credit check proper or not, or it has proper balance or not. If it uh, if it follows to be approved, then it goes to another decision, that is the amount receivable is balanced or not, which we can be given to the customer. So if it calculates that balance is available, then it calculates the credit terms, and then based on that credit, the report is issued, or the balance credit check on the calculation of the credit terms, the term is approved, and then thereby sales is approved. It is just a symbolical, or you say just one of the instantiated representation of one sales process. Based on this, you can create n number of process flow diagram. So only the elements which you need to take, the input, output, decision notes, that's it, and start and end. So this is how you are going to design any process flow diagram. I think this is okay for you. If you have created any even normal flow chart in your life, then this is going to be easy for you. So have you ever created normal flow chart in your life, ever? Or even tried, everyone? Rupa, Bela, Aba, Brijesh?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. So this is going to be easy for you accordingly then. So another one is business analysis model tools. So how we can design them then? So there are few modeling tools We call them as a visual modeling, workflow diagram, ER diagram, work breakdown structure, conversion to design, or some documents, template, and understanding. I remember based on when we were describing documents and template, you guys got involved in creation of one. I think one document. It was a requirement gathering documents itself. So further, what we are going to look at few models. Those are called as business analysis models. So once you get placed as a business analyst, you would be, or you would be grabbing opportunities to create such diagrams. So if you don't have any question over here, so what we can do, we can proceed further. So by the way, do you have any question till now, whatever we have covered so far? Any question, guys? Do ask. Otherwise, we'll understand that whatever we have shared with you, you have already mastered that, and we should proceed further. Yeah. So I think you have mastered. So far we have seen this business analysis models. Let me see what else. Visual modeling. So in this, what we are going to look at it, visual modeling is nothing but a graphic representation of object and system. This models, with models, we can focus on subset of information and identity patterns in our requirement, idea, and business processes. So what exactly happens when we design a requirement document, or we try to debrief or brief any particular requirement? Sometimes we need to represent that through different diagrams as well. So those diagrams can be like, say for example, you are creating a new software that is of Amazon.com. So how the look-alike of front page would be of Amazon.com? For that, you have created a normal drawing that we can also call it as a mock-up diagram. So that you are putting down inside the requirement document. That is also a representation. That is also as a part of business analyst role. You are trying to put it down. So you see here UI wireframe prototype or mock-up diagram that you can put inside the requirement document, or business domain model or entity relationship diagram. What we are going to do, we are going to look at it in detail. But as I always say, the foundation of everything is what? Foundation of everything is nothing but a flow chart. So in this flow chart, we have seen a normal defect life cycle, that the moment a defect is introduced, it gets into the status called new, and then it is assigned to developer by asking certain question. Who looks at it? So dev lead can look at it, or the business analyst, whether it is valid or not. So if it is valid, then another question is asked through decision diamond, that is whether it is in scope or not. And if it is in scope, then another question is asked whether it is duplicate or it is the fresh new one. So any of the answer is in favor of the question asked, then either it will be rejected, deferred, or marked as duplicated. Okay. So if it is not in favor of these questions asked, then it gets assigned to the developer, and developer mark it is in progress. It fixes it, and once it is fixed, a status change into fixed, and then it transfer it to the tester again to retest it. So what tester can do, it asks whether it is passed or not. If it is passed, it marks its status as closed. Otherwise, it marks its status to reopen. And once it is reopened, again, it is assigned back to developer. So this is a normal defect life cycle. Okay. If you want, you can take a screenshot of it. Otherwise, when you will go through this video again, that time you can definitely take a note of it and rework on it. This is one of the example of entity relationship diagram also known as business domain model, where the example is given of you are in a garment store. So garment store have a different type of apparel. Every apparel have say for example, it has got a different kind of a product, and product is kind of a garment, and it has got the category, and that category has got a name, and every category has a size. So here you can see, and it is relation with a different table. Say for example, you are in a store, and in the store, a product, someone comes into inquiring about a product, that can be checked from the system or software, that what demand the customer is making, and based on that its availability is checked, and based on that check, we get into this all the information we fetch from the system. Say for example, if customer comes in to buy some particular kids sections garment for small baby, then he also mentioned the size and the color, so that can be fetched from the system. And these all entire records or entire information can be fetched from the database in which the software has been linked with. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? That how exactly happens when you walk into the any garment store, you inquire about any certain clothes availability. So before checking into the store, what the store owner or a store representative can do, he can check into the system software itself, and it fetches all the record from the database, and then he says yes or no whether the size, color, or category or product is available in the store or not. And using that system software, he can also identify in what location the actual product can be found. So everyone is there with me and able to visualize whatever I said?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Aba and Brijesh, and yes, Rupa and Bela, you are able to.
Yes, yes, I
Thank you.
said.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. All right, so this is another example of visual model, UI wireframe and mockup. So here what you see here, so different type of mockups are there. So I gave you example of Amazon.com, its look and feel. So exactly this is how it goes in, but it has got a different label. So one is low fidelity UI prototype, one is medium, another is high fidelity. So this is three types of feature you can incorporate in any requirement document. Okay, so the more detail oriented it becomes, it goes towards high fidelity UI prototype. If you are not getting more detail oriented, so it also covers the medium fidelity UI prototype. And in case you are just denoting, it is called as low fidelity UI prototype. So what detail and denotion and representation I am talking about of the UI you are trying to put into the document. UI means user interface, means what you look at it over here, that is the interface getting transferred at your screen, that is called as UI. Okay, what you see on the screen is the UI. Does it make sense? Everyone, what is UI? Who will answer me?
User interface.
Okay, what do you mean by user interface?
Everything
Rupa?
that we see on
Yeah, Bha, you can come.
yeah, everything that we see on the screen.
Exactly. So every object appears on the screen is also part of user interface. Great. So in the requirement document, you try to represent what you see or what you are expected to see on the screen in the document itself. The next one is WBS chart example. So Prerna ji, do you want to brief this up?
If you want, you can go ahead, or I
Okay.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I will go ahead then. So WBS is a simple, it's called as work breakdown structure. So any bigger work, we try to divide it in a smaller piece. So the best part, how you can understand any WBS is it includes entire deliverable. Understand this WBS as a organizational chart. So if we will try to compare it with WBS or a software, how we can do that? Imagine any project, and this project will have the various activities. Any one activity can be further broken down in a different uh, uh, task. So this is how in this diagram it has been tried to do. Say for example, we have one project of retail website. Okay, and in the retail website we have various phases to undergo. The first one is project management, second one is requirement gathering, third one is design and analysis, fourth one is software development, and fifth one is testing and production. So for every single node, you can break down it further. Okay. So for project management, all those project planning, iteration, everything will come down. So what we will see, we will take one node for the sake of example, that how it can be broken down further. So in the similar manner, you can break down its different phases into the different small biteable size activity. So for example, in this diagram, site software development has been taken an example, and it has been broken down further. So this site software development can have HTML page design. It may have some backend software work involved. It will have some graphical and interface designing. It will also have some content creation. Now, every single pieces will or can be further broken down in the small activities. Here, for example, the backend software has been taken into consideration to break down at the different layers or different small work or activities. So the moment we will talk about backend software, it will also have database implementation, some middleware development, security subsystem, catalog engine, transaction processing. So this only developer can understand. The similar will go with the testing and production. So this is how about a WBS chart. Do you have any question, by the way, in this? Otherwise, just give me a moment. I'm coming back and will touch base one more example with the testing through the conversation. Just give me a second.
Yes, so I would just continue, Gaurav, when you're just taking a small pause. So WBS is basically, as he mentioned, it's work breakdown structure, and it depicts what kind of I would say factors are there to be mentioned into that. So it basically it includes the deliverables and activities which are involved in completion of that particular work. And I remember when I was working with one of the top IT companies earlier, there we used to, as a resources who were working with clients one to one, international clients. We had a US client that time. So that time we were given WBS. So that WBS means it was a code for given to us that we were charging the customer with. So that WBS represented that part of that project, wherein whatever that work was, that WBS was mentioned for that part of project development, and we were charging customer as per that. So if the work was of 10 days, so we would require 1 WBS for 10 days of that particular work. When the work used to change, like for example, for particular sprint, that WBS was given. For sprint 2, another WBS was given. So try to understand, this is also how the WBS is used in organizations with respect to billing, and with respect to what kind of work is involved. So as per the different type of work and different stages of project, we are given WBS. So it has a lot of factors like project management, requirement gathering, it's a lot of things are mentioned here: testing, designing. So all these things can be drilled down, and we can derive at a WBS. Okay. So basically, this is the overall understanding of from your importance point of view for a WBS. So yes, Gaurav, are you back, or
Yeah,
we
yeah,
can
yeah.
move?
So
Yes.
as I said,
Yeah.
that will go away for a seconds. So within
Yeah.
15 seconds, I was back. So yeah. So in the similar manner, the testing and production, these can be also broken down. You can think of unit testing, component testing, integration testing, system integration testing, then user acceptance testing, like that. So every single item can be broken down. So I have just given an example. You can think of any node and you can further go ahead and break down it further. So this is how it will look like. Okay. So do you further want to add anything, Prerna ji? Or participants, if you have any question, please do ask.
I'm
Uh,
good, Gaurav. We can go ahead.
Otherwise, I'm here to flip the slide. And so here it is very important to know that conversion to design, what exactly it means. So every communication needs to be designed. And that's the reason the visual thinking concept comes in. So you might have seen even me. So I'm not talking about design thinking. I'm talking about visual thinking. So visual thinking, the moment you are thinking or declaring or describing something, you are in parallel designing the concept or designing the art. So that is called as visual thinking for the sake of the ease. Okay. So different kind of documents and templates you can use, or you can incorporate all those design in these documents. So to name a few, one is project vision document, where it is also cover sometime, SOW, that is a statement of work. So it is not mandatory one, but it should be known, because product owner may ask for help to the business analyst to design this project vision diagram, or document, say requirement management plan. So this is one of the thing which business analysts should be designing. User stories, you have seen so far that how bigger backlog items can be converted in the smaller user stories, and every single user story will have the different condition. Based on that, small use case gets designed. Okay. So we have seen about user story, and one user story may have 2-3 condition, and every considering every single condition, one use case can be created. And BRD document, last time we had created requirement traceability matrix, that you can approve sometime, but not necessarily that you need to design. For review purpose, it can come to you from testers, to identify whether whatever the test cases they have written, that is getting mapped properly with your requirement document that you generally create, are proper or not. So for review purpose, it comes to you. Then functional requirement specification, or functional specification document, which we also sometime call it an acronym of FRS or FSD. The same goes with, so these are the name of system requirement specification, system requirement document, and test case document, which you don't need to create. But yeah, you need to know that what all these things are as a business analyst. So these are a example of documents and template. How you can get the templates? So there are two ways. One, you just Google it out, download any outline and start reworking onto that. That is number one. Number two, every single organization create their own template. You can ask your organization to provide you the template or start creating your own. Okay, this is how you will have the document template available with you and you can expand it further. Do you have any question? You should ask me any question. Okay. Or if I'll ask you to create a use case, can you create a use case document, everyone? Abha, can you create a use case document if I'll ask you? Bela, Brijesh?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So yeah, so wonderful to hear this. Let's move further and understand few identifier of a project vision document, what it comes in with. So in project vision document, you understand the end should be about vision. So project vision document will talk about the introduction of the project, then users in the system, who will be the stakeholder, and also the overview, features, requirement, and some limitation. So these all things goes on high level. These all things will go on high level, so that you need to mention as a vision, and then the quality gate or quality documentation requirement if necessarily required. Then second comes the requirement management plan. Why I'm rushing it out? Because we have covered in the past, that's why. So, sorry. Yeah, requirement management plan, you need to incorporate the purpose of it, the responsibility, who is responsible, tools and procedure, what you are going to use while you are describing or developing the requirement, approach, how you have defined the requirement, or also how you will trace the requirement. So for that, you can mention that RTM will be used, or workflow and activities that you can design inside, and also how you are going to work on the change management whenever any change is introduced or change is requested, how you are going to manage that as well, that you are going to mention in the requirement management plan, that how any requirement when gets floated inside within time, beyond time, how you are going to manage that you are going to mention it in it. So use case, I just asked and Bridges said yes. So these are some identifier you should be mentioning, who on use case, who are going to, who can work. Is it just for example, if this use case is for cash withdrawal, so who can withdraw the cash? Customer. Then from where? From ATM or directly from the bank. When this withdrawal triggers, okay, the moment the PIN is validated, or after PIN validation, the amount is entered, or when balance is already checked. There's some precondition. In precondition, in fact, you say, you can mention that, excuse me. Thank you. So what I was mentioning, that in precondition, you can mention that the card is validated, balance has been checked, and then when it will trigger, when the withdraw button is pressed, it gets the withdrawal gets triggered. Some alternative flows, okay, alternative flows, you can think of that cardless so it can be the another one. So you are talking about cash withdrawal using card and without card. There is a two types of withdrawal. Okay, any exception, how it will be handled, special requirement, assumption, notes and issues, something is existing, you are going to quote it into the use case. Okay, I think I have given you fair idea about it. Then user story, always we have known that how to quote any user story or write it. So User story, you can define that as an actor, I should be doing some action so that it impacts this thing. So this is the format to create the user story. And the requirement traceability matrix will have these all identifier tester needs to know, and you can just have it stored in your memory for knowledge purpose so that you can review RTM created by testers. And then comes BRD and FSD and FRS. So in a BRD, the requirement are high level, but in FRS and FSD, they are written in many more details to capture each and every aspect of requirement. And there's a functional specification document becomes a more technical, accurate, descriptive requirement document. And owing to their technical nature, it becomes FRS or FSD are equally based by developers, tester, used by developers, tester. In fact, all these documents, everyone and anyone in the stakeholder can use it. Okay, so when we are talking about requirement specification, it will hold more of the business requirement or more of the functional requirement. Okay, and that you can also mention in the functional specification document. TRD sometimes is also called as TSD, is about technical requirement document or technical specification document that only talk about technicality, but FRS and FSD whereas only talks about the functional requirement. Okay, this is here it is explained about the system requirement. It has to do with hardware and software functions. Okay, so it goes into a specification that what all the system requirement is to be mentioned in that document. So this is how it is. So then comes test cases. A tester needs to know about it, what all the identifier will be there inside. And this is how we have completed the various business analyst models. Do you have any question? I think we really rushed fast and completed lot many things in a very less time. And in fact, we have finished the week 6. So do you have any question further, guys? Are you good? Do you think that by repeating this today, we have become more confident? And if we will be asked to create once again the BRD document, the effort we had taken in the past, we can redo it with some little less effort by knowing its identifier at least. I'm asking this question to everyone. So every one of you can say yes or no, whatever comes in your mind. I need not
Yes.
to. Okay,
Yes.
thanks, Rupa. Thanks, Bela. Who else are
Yes.
feeling? Okay, thanks, Brijesh. Abha, what about you? Do you think you need to practice once again to be more confident to create it?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I would suggest you to go through these all so that it can simply build one thing that we call it as what? That is the confidence. For that, we are doing it because the ultimate focus is or ultimate, what do you call? The goal is for you to get placed with the confidence and that you can be tested with the, mock interview sessions. Okay, so I think we have covered a lot. Let me just see what is there. Meanwhile, Prenaji, if you want to add something, please go ahead and add.
Yes, definitely. As you correctly mentioned that we have covered a lot in this session because most of the things were repetitive as well as they are quite easy to understand. Okay. After going through all these sessions of learning Agile, Scrum and BA in detail, I think overall the basic understanding for this concept is built. When we talk about the diagrams which we shared today, those are all as in line with whatever we have been learning in this course. So again, I'll recommend, I know many of you are putting in efforts, so the next step is getting your resume ready. I'm pretty sure Abha has done her part in this, and others are definitely working on it. So I'll request everybody present today, Bela, Brijesh, Rupa, everybody to work on their resume and share with Dev sir, share with us if you would like to. We can also review, and but the final review before submission to HR, please share with Dev sir so he can guide you as per the industry standards, and as to how to highlight your CV, what all points to be added. And this is the first step. And second, to introduce you to the outside corporate world, to the HRs who are looking out for candidates like you for the role which you have been getting trained for. Please try to give some time to yourself to prepare for the interview. I know this is the festival and holiday season, so no worries on that. We can connect in the new year in January after a couple of days, but I would really encourage and really request you guys to come up and go ahead with interviews. You must have seen Anila's interview session. It was fantastic. I'm pretty sure Gaurav also had a great time. I had a great time knowing that she could answer so well. It was a very authentic and proper setup. It was a very professional interview session we have had, and it was really nice. It gave us the needed confidence that yes, you guys are on the right path. I'm pretty sure Abha will also work towards it in near future, but I'm requesting others also to come forward. Then we can also have a group discussion kind of session when you all will be there as a participants, and we will ask a random question or group interview question. So the possibilities and the activities are endless, limitless, but we only want your response. Okay, guys. So we have a lot in store for you. Please focus, enjoy your time, definitely with your family, friends during this time, during this festivities and all. But then in January, let's focus on the interview part, the CV part, and let's get started. And last but not the least, please do rewatch the videos, because
Yes.
we have excellent store of videos from us, videos from other trainer, videos by Dev sir, guiding everybody for the prospective jobs and stuff. So we have our own Wikipedia, if you have to call it, on YouTube. So please watch it, encourage your friends if they're willing to, if they want to pursue this kind of course or this career, share your experiences. And yes, and that's it from my side. I just wanted to highlight these things because we are in currently process of getting into interviews and all that. Yeah.
So always keep one thing in your mind, that is your goal, that you want to get placed, and that's why you joined over here. Otherwise, what may happen, you will have lot many reasons to not to proceed further, and you will get trapped with that. So think of this, what you want to give. You want to give yourself reasons or results. If you want to give yourself results, you will become the part of hustle, and you will continue to move towards the next step. Otherwise, you will just simply sit quiet and will wait for the sessions to get over, and just you will mark yourself as done. That's it. Marking and not implementing are two different things. Okay. So when you are marking yourself as done, also I would request start executing the things. And the next step is attending RRRP session. Next week, what is going to happen? We will discuss more in detail about the different domains life cycle. That is going to be our last session. That's it. We are not going to go ahead and do some workshop, because workshop last time we did, everyone were involved into that. You remember that workshop we started with? Brijesh, when you were there, we started with workshop. Abha, you were there, we started with the workshop. Yeah. And then,
Yes.
so there we have come back now. So next session will be mainly about the domain life cycle. We will repeat that, and after that we will call it. But your preparation for getting placed should get started, and for that every single of you would need to attend the RRRP session, that is reference ready resume preparation session, and also come back for the mock-up session with us, with me and Prerna. So think about it, that how you can participate, how you can get interviewed through us, so that you will get placed for any real requirement comes in, and it keeps get posted by our HR in BAQA group. Have you seen ever that continuously our HRs are posting some requirement of analyst or business analyst or scrum master coming in? Do you see? Have you seen ever, Bela? Yes.
Yes.
Brijesh, Rupa, have you seen those?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So start preparing for that. So we are done for today. And because we have done, I think I have requested many things to you to do. So everything start with the assignment. You are here to take your own responsibility. We can give you the path. You need to walk on that. We can ask you to complete the assignment, but we cannot complete those assignments for you. That you have to do. And then only we can say that now you are ready to conduct some session or start working as a business analyst or not. Okay, or scrum master or product owner or not. So on this note, so Abha, what do you feel like saying about today's session?
Yeah, it was a nice revision from the previous. So like doing it again, it gives more confidence in the subject.
Okay, thank you. You feel more confident. Thank you so much. Tag someone on the screen.
Bela?
Bela, what do you feel like saying about your experience today?
Yeah, it's more informative, but I still have to work more effort I have to put on.
Okay, personal effort has to go in more.
Yes.
Thank you, Bela. Call out someone's name on the screen.
Bridges.
Brijesh, what do you feel like saying, man?
It was a good review on the diagrams, and I definitely want to get the RRP session going and get started with everything.
Wonderful. So tag out someone's name on the screen.
Rupa?
Rupa,
Yeah.
Rupa, what do you feel like saying? Yeah.
It is a more informative, and the fish diagram and mainly the project vision document is very interesting.
Mhm.
And I want to learn once
Okay.
again.
Yeah. So go through the recording. Call out someone's name on the screen, please.
Prerna?
Prerna ji, what do you feel like
Thank you
saying?
so much, Rupa. Yes, so super duper interesting and a lot of information loaded session for today, and also a very a strategic session, as in because we are going, we are kind of heading towards the end of the year, and we really had fantastic sessions, and everybody's doing so good. So yes, rather a happy session to me, and trying to and planning to end this on this note that let us give our best, in this year end as well as in the new year, so achieve our common goal of all of you to getting placed. Okay, so wonderful session for me today. Over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you so much. I would say that it is a reminder for all of us to continue to do what we are doing and do more so that we get placed. My only concern for each one of you is that you need to get placed now. It's been high time. Yeah. So everything has been repeated now. That's why it's been high time. Continue to attend RRP session, show up over there and come back with the for the interview ready. That's it. Thank you so much. And I wish all of you good night and see you next week. That is going to be the last session next week.
Thank you.
Good night,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Good night. Yeah. Bye.
Good night.